Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Just bringing you an astrology overview of the upcoming full moon in Capricorn. So that's taking place for us either on the 21st or 22nd of June, depending on where you are. For us in the UK, it's happening on the 22nd of June at 2:07 a.m. Apply your own time zones as appropriate. And this full moon in Capricorn is the first of two full moons in Capricorn. So it's feeling intense already. And I'll come on to that as I mention more about the Capricornian energy. But we've got this full moon coming up at 1 degree. So the moon will be at 1 degree of Capricorn for this full moon. And then on the 21st of July, we've got the second full moon in Capricorn. And that moon will be at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So we're starting with the beginning degrees and we're ending with the final degrees that a planet or planetary body can be in before it moves to the next sign. So it's meant to be 29 degrees of Capricorn for a reason. And it feels like this period of about a month is going to be quite profound when it comes to things that we need to purge, release, relating to those Capricornian elements. And I'll come on to that. But looking at the beginning of the cycle and the end of the cycle in that respect is quite something. And we will have a new moon in Cancer in between because we're moving into Cancer season. I'm recording this on the 19th of June and the sun will be entering Cancer tomorrow on the 20th of June for us in the UK, 21:51. So it's happening at night time. And I'll come on to that in terms of a little bit about the astrology, but this overview is, of course, predominantly about the full moon in Capricorn. So I'm going to share the chart with you and show you the aspects that I was certainly drawn to and guided to share with you and any channeled insights that come through at that time of me transmitting this. But essentially, if we look at a full moon as an event, as a lunar event, there are two purposes really. And first of all, there is great illumination for a full moon and on a full moon, because the full moon lights up the sky. So there is heavy illumination, okay, and it feels quite heavy at this moment, but heavy illumination. And the other thing that a full moon can support us with is releasing and purging. And if you're sensitive to lunar energy, there can just be very random purging of emotions, for instance. So when we think of the moon in astrology, it represents our emotional home and our feelings, okay, tied up to that when we look at a natal chart. So if we think about emotional purging, that can be quite heightened for a full moon. Again, depending on if you're sensitive to lunar energy, what sign this full moon might be in, what else is going on, and of course, where those placements might impact your own natal chart, because of course, it's going to be unique to everybody on their own journey. But we need to really look at, okay, this illumination and the supporting energy for releasing. Then if we look at Capricorn, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the taskmaster, the planet that doesn't mess around. And Capricorn energy can be devoid of emotion because with that Saturnian focus, it's very much, I'm not going to let emotions get in the way of what I've got to do. I've got this drive, I've got this focus, I've got this determination. And so it's a powerhouse of energy. So it's positive in that respect, but it can feel harsh. And of course, we know Saturn is in Pisces at the moment, serving up lessons left, right, and center to get us in alignment with our spiritual truth. And they can be uncomfortable lessons because he wants us to get in line with our spiritual truth. And how are we going to do that unless we're tested? So this is what's going on at the moment. But I'll dial it back just to the fact that, yes, Saturn rules Capricorn. So we need to look at structures, systems, rules, beliefs, boundaries, and also Saturn rules karma. So there might have been a lot coming up recently because I've certainly seen it in the astrology and I've been aware of it within the energy that there has been a lot of karma coming up to be cleansed and released. Could be karma from past lives, doesn't have to be. If that's resonating for you, it's going to resonate for you. But this is about, right, we need to clear this to heal this in this lifetime once and for all. So there may be several lessons, one after the other, boom, 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 to really understand, yeah, I've got to let go of this, okay? Just an example for that, and detachment from things that we've been attached to as a belief, as a structure, and also looking at our own selves as our own structure. Okay, so when we think of our own foundation and our structure, are the foundations shaky? Do we need to be actually detaching from things that's causing that in order to build anew? So we've been asked to be looking at this for quite a while, especially because of what's been going on with Pluto and the deep transformation. So if this is resonating for you, this is not going to be news to you. This is going to be something you are more than familiar with, okay? And this full moon in Capricorn is essentially giving us that opportunity to experience illumination where there are further aspects that relate to those Capricornian elements within our lives that we need to release. It is a reality check. And a few days ago, a week ago, I shared on my Instagram page a card that had come out in a collective reading, and it was very, very significant. And I'll show it you now, okay? So this relates to full moon in Capricorn, and it says on there, take a reality check, because that's what Saturn is asking us to do generally with these life lessons. But this illumination that the full moon could bring may be an illumination of a reality check in a situation that relates to our structures, our systems, our beliefs, maybe even work, okay? Because of course, Capricorn rules the 10th house. We need to also look at power. So where might we have been giving our power away? So there might be this illumination of all of this, okay, in order for us to take our power back, in order for us to detach from that which is not serving us anymore. But we need to almost be devoid of emotion. We need to just be focused, because that's what the Capricornian energy is asking us to do. However, with the moon being in Capricorn, and it's a full moon, the moon is at detriment position. And what do I mean by that? Well, the moon's home is Cancer, and Capricorn is the opposite sign. So the moon feels at home in Cancer. It's a comfortable place for the moon to be. But in Capricorn, opposite position, it's not comfortable. So that's why this reality check might feel harsh within the emotions, and it might be challenging to actually remove emotions from situations, you know, certainly where things are coming up to be released and purged. So it's just worth bearing that in mind. Now, Capricorn, just like Cancer, obviously we will be in Cancer season at that point, they are both cardinal signs. Cancer is cardinal water energy, and Capricorn is cardinal earth energy. So again, this is about reality versus those emotions, okay? So the full moon is happening within cardinal earth energy. Cardinal means getting things started. So this illumination that may come, okay, relates to where we need to get things started, get things going from a reality perspective, earth energy, in terms of what we do need to detach from, where we need to take our power back. Okay, so whatever it might be relating to all those aspects I've just mentioned, karmic situations, do we need to release them? Okay, beliefs, do we need to actually, you know, set some new beliefs here, set our own rules, that kind of thing, and detach from those that have been given to us by other people, for example. So it's looking at all of that, but it's cardinal energy. So we can get things started, we can get things moving, but it might feel uncomfortable because the moon is at detriment position. And of course, with the other full moon that's coming up, that's going to be the same. Full moon in Capricorn, detrimental position. Final degree is 29, okay, at that point. And so that's quite harsh as well. I will be doing a report on that one because, of course, the other planetary aspects and alignments are going to be different. So we will look at that, and it'll be interesting to actually dive into the period in between the full moons. And I might do an astrology special on that, so a separate video on that. But also, you know, the other thing to mention is I can say, well, yeah, this is what a full moon represents, the illumination and the supporting energy for releasing. This is what Capricorn means. So this is how sort of ties in together. But it's important to look at the astrological transits of the moment of that full moon, because there's other things going on. It's a bigger picture. It's a bigger picture than just saying a full moon in Capricorn means this. We need to look at the other aspects, because that forms a wider perspective of what's going on. Okay, as above, so below. But of course, looking at the events and the transits of these lunar events, should I say, will actually give you an indication against your natal chart of how the energy could be influencing your journey. This is collective, of course. This is based on the energy and the alignment relating to the event. Okay, so let's share the screen. And before I do, actually, one other thing to mention is that on the 2nd of September, Pluto will be moving back into Capricorn as part of his retrograde. So he's in retrograde at the moment, and will be retrograding back into Capricorn to sort of clean house. And of course, being at the final degrees again, 29. So the gunky area of Capricorn in that respect, because, you know, he is actually cleaning Saturn's house. He's cleaning up all of those structures and systems and outdated beliefs that are not serving us. So we've got a window of opportunity here within these 2 full moons this month. Okay, and it's not saying you've got to have everything done within this month. This is about illumination of the reality check that's needed in relation to our physical reality, and those structures and beliefs and rules, boundaries, business focus, you know, 10th house attributes. When we think of that, you know, what do we need to detach from? What do we need to release? What's being shown to us that's not working for us anymore, and what do we need to release? And so it's giving us a window of opportunity. And then when Pluto retrogrades back on the 2nd of September into Capricorn, it's almost like we've done the preparatory work. That's what it feels like. And of course, he's going to be back in Capricorn for a while. Then he's going to station direct and move forward back into Aquarius. And then it's going to take him about 248 years to get back round to Capricorn. So we're not going to have this chance again in this lifetime. Okay, so it's taking the opportunity to clean house in that respect when it comes to systems and structures we're attached to that are not serving us. Okay, plus karmic situations, rules, beliefs, power. Where are we giving our power away? So we need to be taking our power back. That also ties into the sovereignty as well. Okay, right, let's share the screen. And I wanted to do a brief overview, really. So it's not too much of a long video for you. There we go. Right. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. So we have got this full moon in Capricorn, the first one of 2, happening at 2:07 a.m. for us in the UK, British summertime. Okay, apply your own time zones as appropriate. So it's either the 21st or the 22nd, depending on where you are in the world. And you can see the moon there at 1 degree of Capricorn. The only luminary there that's in Capricorn, obviously we've got Ceres in Capricorn as well, but we've got the opposition energy to Cancer over here. So we've got the sun, because the sun will be in Cancer at that point, joining Venus and Mercury. Okay. Now, let's have a look at some of these aspects. So with the moon, there is a square, which is a challenging aspect in astrology, to Neptune. And there's also a square from the sun to Neptune. So what I felt when I saw that, and we can see that Neptune is at 29 degrees, that final degree again of Pisces. Neptune represents that subconscious energy and the mystical, ethereal energy, our intuition. Okay. And squares could indicate shadow aspects of that. So deception, self-sabotage. Okay, for example. With the moon and the sun both in square to Neptune, this is indicating some challenge around what our intuition might be telling us. So it's challenging us on a soul level, and on an emotional level, because we need to listen to our intuition to understand what that illumination is for us. And our intuition will never lie to us. So we get that intuitive response to something that should tell us the answer. So we need to be listening to our intuition on a soul level, and also within our emotions, how we feel about something. But remember, the full moon is in Capricorn, so it might feel harsh. It also suggests to me intuitively that there might be some feelings around a certain aspect, thing, person, project, whatever it might be, but there could be some feelings or emotions that we don't want to listen to. Okay, the challenging energy between Neptune, what our intuition is telling us, and what our feelings are maybe trying to alert us to as well. We don't want to maybe accept some feelings that we have around a certain situation. Again, the reality check here. So we need to be more open to what our intuition is telling us. Neptune is in sextile to Pluto, so that is a harmonious aspect. So even though it can feel challenging to receive this illumination, or to maybe even release emotions around something that's stagnant and not for us, it's helping the transformation that Pluto is calling for. So of course, Pluto in retrograde, there is that introspection going on about the transformation we're going through, and we're really trying to get ourselves into this new reality that we're wanting to carve out for ourselves. And to do that, we might need to process heavy emotions around something, maybe something or someone that we need to detach from. Okay, and that's why we might be trying to sabotage a situation, sabotage ourselves, because we won't face the emotions that's actually being brought to us in our reality with that Capricornian energy, remember, okay? So we've got to have that ethereal essence of the intuition, but we also need to be grounded in the reality. So just representing a challenge there. Pluto is also, although I've not marked it up in here, is in trine to Uranus and Jupiter. So that's also a harmonious aspect there. And again, that's showing that change, when it comes to our worth and values, is guiding the transformation, and vice versa. As we transform, our values might change. Okay, we're recognizing our worth more. And that's where we do need to have those reality checks with, is this now in alignment with me? Because my values have changed and I believe I'm worth more than this. So then it's about the detachment, and that's where the uncomfortable emotions could come in. Acceptance of feelings around that can be quite harsh and uncomfortable, Capricorn. Jupiter as well is there. So there's growth and expansion going on here. And there's a curiosity to that and how it's unfolding as well as part of the transformation. Okay, that's just another point to mention. Now we've got down here in Virgo, we've got Lilith and Juno. So Lilith is an asteroid that represents our shadow feminine. And Juno is also a feminine asteroid, represents love and marriage, but I view that as commitment. Okay, because marriage is a commitment. And there's been a lot coming up about commitment to self, but also soul contracts in previous astrology reports. And there is a trine, so again, harmonious aspect, that's going to Ceres, which is also feminine energy. Ceres is in Capricorn, but there is a positive aspect here with a trine. So within the shadow work that's been being done throughout this whole process of the healing journey, there's been that commitment to the self to do that, and therefore it's enabling that expansion within our reality. Ceres in Capricorn. Okay. There's also a sextile from Ceres to Saturn. Okay, so I mentioned Saturn before. So that's positive because, yeah, the shadow work that we're doing, it might feel intense, but actually it's enabling us to expand our realities, and that expansion and the nurturing energy that Ceres can offer is enabling us to learn and close out these Saturnian lessons. okay, because it's a sextile. It's not showing that there's a square, it's a positive aspect. So even though it might feel harsh, and certainly this last period of 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, could have felt very, very intense, it's not been in vain. This is about carving out a new reality for ourselves. And to do that, we need to shed the old, and that can be uncomfortable. So we've been put through our paces a bit with this, but it's showing that the shadow work is paying off. The commitment to self is paying off. And therefore that expansion is enabling us to learn and close out the Saturnian lessons. So it's making Saturn happy, which is then going to bring positive karmic returns. Okay. So that's positive. And the transformation is a massive part of this as well. Now, I do have to mention some more squares here, but there is a positive message in this. Okay, so we've got Mercury down here in Cancer now. So Mercury, obviously our communication, our expression, our thoughts. And Mercury is in sextile to Lilith and Juno as well. So again, that's a positive aspect also. With that shadow work and commitment to self, we're perhaps feeling able to speak up more or to express ourselves from a more genuine place. When it comes to that Cancerian energy, that's unconditional love. So that is a place of really feeling at home within the nurturing expression of oneself with that Mercury energy. And the shadow work is enabling that to happen, because we're becoming more comfortable. Okay, think of that Cancerian energy, that comfortable, nurturing energy. So we're becoming more comfortable as a result of being more committed to the self, loving ourselves enough to do this, loving ourselves enough to go through the shadow work that we've needed to, addressing the shadow aspects that have been coming up, challenging that energy, certainly the feminine energy, you know, creating, feeling worthy enough to create something, feeling worthy enough to create the new reality that you desire, or just feeling worthy generally. So there's been a lot of shadow aspects, anxieties, doubts, fears coming up to pay attention to, as well as, you know, what our deep desires are in relation to the reality that we do want to experience, and not being afraid to express that. So this is what's, you know, being enabled to happen here with the shadow work that we've had to really do and introspect on, and the commitment to the self in a nurturing way is enabling us to really express ourselves more profoundly, you know, in that way. But there is here a square that's going across to the vertex point and the south node. So in relation to south node is where we've come from. Okay, so when you think of it like that, we're heading towards the north node. Okay, that's our guiding light, and we're coming away from the south node in the direction of the north node. But the south node can also give us indication around past life stuff, okay, if that's resonating for you. But it's also about laying that foundation. So yes, we want to clear out karma, cleanse karma, and lay a foundation. And the south node is in Libra. So we want to lay a foundation that's fair and balanced and reciprocal. And we're moving in that direction of our purpose, our path. And with the north node in Aries, that is about sovereignty. So of course, laying a fair foundation that is balanced and reciprocal, harmonious, one that is based on justice, and moving in the direction of sovereignty. Okay, but there just so happens to be a square from Mercury to the north node and to the south node. So the expression could be challenged in that respect. And the key part here is the shadow work may still need to continue, but it is working because there's a sextile, and also the commitment to self. So there needs to be this emphasis on commitment to the self to move forward in that direction of sovereignty in order to fully immerse oneself into that comfortable expression of who we are, okay, from a place of unconditional love with that Cancerian energy. And it's a very fated and destined moment to do that, certainly to look at the fairness aspect, because the vertex point is there as well. Okay. We've also got here to look at, and my eyes were just drawn to something else there, but we've got to look at the masculine and feminine energies as well. That was something that intuitively I was guided towards when I looked at this chart. So we've got the essence of masculine and feminine within us, regardless of gender or how we identify. Okay, so masculine is that drive, that courage to take action. And the feminine is the nurturing side of us that creates, okay, and also is open to receive. There's more of a flow to the feminine energy in that way. And we've got here Mars and Venus. So it's important to just have a look at what's going on here with these two. And Mars is in trine to Lilith and Juno. So there is a positive aspect there between Mars and feminine energy. And it's relating to shadow work, okay? And also, he is in sextile to Mercury. And we know that Mercury is in sextile to Lilith and Juno as well. So it's the masculine drive that's enabling us to get through this shadow work. It's enabling us to have that courage within, to be committed to the self. It's the determination of the masculine energy within to be committed to the self, to really push through, to persist, okay? And this relates to worth and values as well. So being empowered in the masculine essence within to persist with the shadow work that's still needed, to persist with empowering oneself to be comfortable enough to express oneself in that authentic way, okay, and to really exercise the commitment to self when it comes to, you know, clearing out the shadow work. So the masculine drive to take action, and that's all harmonious, okay, but also with this sextile to Venus. I think I probably said there was a sextile to Mercury. Apologies, Venus here, because this is the masculine and feminine energy that are in harmony with one another. Okay, there is this link here between the two, because this is bringing balance in. So even though there is all of this stuff going on in terms of the challenging aspects within feelings and within emotions and things like that, there is also this harmony coming together of the masculine and feminine. And the feminine is actually finding success, okay, if I use that term, within understanding those investments. So the investment of the Venus energy. So she's now in Cancer. So this is very loving energy here, but definitely about, you know, the heart space and actually understanding where we want to invest that Venus energy. And if we're doing that in alignment with that heart space, okay, that purity within the heart space, and it comes from a place of unconditional love, that's bringing the success, because there is a trine to past Fortuna. And past Fortuna at this point is in Scorpio. So that's quite deep. Okay, that's the depth. It's also enabling transformation, possibly, and power. So power and passion. So think of, you know, investments in things, situations, people that you are passionate about, or where there is sort of powerful, I don't know, something. And literally this is saying that there is success in that. It's a harmonious trine, okay, between Venus and past Fortuna. But past Fortuna moves very fast. So this is a freeze frame of the cosmos at the time of the full moon, of course. But with Mars and the trine to Juno and Lilith, you know, there is very much the masculine energy is being supported by the feminine energy here, and vice versa, because we need that drive to take action, but we also need to be open to receive opportunities as well, and that unconditional love with that Cancerian energy. So if it all starts from that drive of knowing one's worth and feeling empowered to stand up for our own unique expression, as well as understanding, you know, this is what we need to do from a shadow aspect point of view, and I'm committed enough to myself to do this, then that is, of course, going to align with the Venus energy, because we're investing in the right things. We're investing in ourselves. We're investing in that which makes us happy. that which does fill up the heart space. And that's why the masculine energy and feminine energy with Mars and Venus can come together in that sextile type energy, okay, in order to receive that harmony between the two. It also facilitates that expression as well. So it might even result in communication in your external reality, okay, if it's being reflected back to you in that way in an external reality situation, okay, if it's resonating for you. But balance is actually coming together, and that was something that I certainly intuitively felt when I noticed what was going on there. And it makes complete sense, because as we do invest more in ourselves, of course, that Venus energy is going to be reciprocated back to us, and it brings us in alignment with the masculine and feminine energy, okay, which is harmonious, obviously. So this might feel intense as a full moon, because illumination of the reality check that we need could be really to do with where our expression is still being challenged within our sovereignty. Okay, so think of what I said at the beginning about taking our power back. So this is about, where are we giving away our power in that respect? Where do we need to be taking our power back? And also, where do we need to face those challenging emotions that we might be hiding from ourselves, that we don't want to face, situations that we've maybe sabotaged or tried to sabotage out of fear, things that we really need to take a look at, but in a really kind of focused, driven way of that Capricornian energy, which could feel uncomfortable. So it's just having that caveat around that it can feel uncomfortable. But if you're well versed with Capricornian energy, then you're going to be able to, you know, handle that a lot easier than maybe someone who isn't. So again, it's different for everybody. And, you know, that's what makes us all unique. But Capricornian energy is certainly that focus and that drive, and emotion is not part of it. So this is about the reality check and, okay, what do I need to detach from? What do I need to release? And not being afraid to allow the purging of emotions, stagnant energy that needs to be released. That's what the full moon supports us with. Okay, it's the lunar energy to support the releasing. But it's important, as I say, to look at the entire event of the full moon, rather than just saying it's a full moon in Capricorn, so it means this and this. It's about looking at the bigger picture with everything. Okay, and understanding that we have got another one coming up. So this period now is a window of opportunity for us to address those aspects that are being illuminated to us, okay, of that which we need to detach from: systems, structures, boundaries, rules, beliefs that are not serving us. Where do we need to take our power back? Where do we need to put boundaries in place? Where do we need to be focused from a work perspective, if that's resonating for you? Where are things challenging our inner authority? Where are systems not working for us anymore? What do we need to detach from? What are the karmic situations we need to release? Things like that, okay? Think of the Capricornian energy, but also look at this in terms of what might be challenging your sovereignty. Where do we need to be empowered in our expression? Let's balance the masculine and feminine by committing to the self and investing in that which we really, really feel passionate about, and what can bring us that power and that passion back to us. And also, let's just enable the transformation that is happening, the expansion that's happening, the positive change that's happening in our worth and values, by believing we're worthy enough of this in order to do the shadow work and commit to the self. Okay, that's what I will say with that one. Let's stop sharing that, and I'm just going to show you very, very quickly the chart against the UK's natal chart. So it's just to show you that this is where the full moon is happening for the UK. So the UK's natal chart is the inner wheel. The transits I've just shown you are on the outer wheel. Okay, so when you lay two charts on top of one another, it will show you how it's impacting on your natal chart. So we're looking at a country in this respect. So this is the 6th house. This is the 6th house of well-being, daily routines and schedules, and where we are of service to others. Very interesting that for us in the UK, we've got a general election coming up soon. Okay, so maybe I will cover more on that. So it's not surprising that this is kicking off the 6th house in this respect. And obviously I'll be looking at where this is happening on the 21st of July, when we've got the other full moon in Capricorn. So very interesting, because also you'll notice that there's only 1 degree difference between the moon and the UK's natal south node, karmic situations. So also foundations, okay? I'm not going to go any further than that. I might do a special report. I keep saying all these special reports. I'll try and do something on that. I might even cover the election. It might be interesting to see what's going on around the 4th of July, which interestingly is Independence Day in America. So there's another link. Right, so that just rounds off looking at the full moon in Capricorn, the first full moon in Capricorn that we've got coming up imminently. Okay, and I did make a note earlier, so bear with me whilst I refer to my notes here, because we have got the sun moving into Cancer tomorrow, 20th of June. Okay, I mentioned to you it's 21:51, and at that time the moon will be in Sagittarius. So that is very much about exploring our feelings, being on a quest of discovery, but it's fire energy as well. So there could be some motivation there. And also the moon is in trine to Chiron and the North Node, in sextile to the South Node, and also in trine to Vertex, and Chiron is in trine to Vertex. So for me, straight away, I was like, right, this is a very healing and very soothing energy to kickstart Cancer season. Just so happens that a day or two after, we've got this full moon in Capricorn. So make the most of this soothing, healing energy. But ultimately, this is saying, right, the sun is moving from Gemini into Cancer, into that cardinal water energy. So this is about, again, cardinal, starting things off. Water energy is the flow. So it's now enabling us to flow, okay? There is this ethos of sort of, I don't know, unconditional love, nurturing that comes with Cancerian energy. We need to be loving on ourselves, certainly in relation to what I've just shown you with the full moon. But with the moon in Sagittarius, you know, this is about, okay, how am I feeling about things? How are things going for me when it comes to my emotions? And allowing the Cancerian flow energy to guide you in that way, because that's the sun, the soul essence, okay? But also Vertex point being in the mix here with Chiron, very destined for that healing energy, very fated, very written in the stars in that way, okay? And also, you know, in relation to the North Node, so our path, so where we're moving forward, okay, perhaps Gemini season has allowed us to be curious, to investigate certain things, to get our thoughts in order in that respect, in order to then move into this Cancerian energy, that flowing energy, that loving energy, when we can take care of the heart and home, if you like, and we can reflect on that in that nurturing way, but certainly very healing, very soothing, which is then going to prepare us for this lunar energy of illumination. So we might be needing to nurture ourselves because we almost know, okay, we're going to get some kind of reality check. You may have already had it, okay? This energy has been around for a long time with the transformation, but it's certainly what I feel to be a window of opportunity to revisit something that maybe, you know, when it comes to our structures, that Capricornian energy, that we do need to detach from, and maybe we haven't yet detached from. Okay, so again, it can feel harsh, but it's all for our highest good, okay, in that respect. So I'm just going to pull a few cards, and I'm just using oracles, okay, for the moon. I'll timestamp this as well. Okay, so with the star codes Astro, let's just see if there is anything additional that you need to know about. Okay, for this upcoming full moon. For this upcoming full moon, is there anything else? Yes, thank you. There we go. Oh, tension is a brewing. Okay, tension is brewing. On the bottom, we've got Sarah's in reverse. Don't usually take oracles in reverse, but there is a need for nurturing is what I would say from that. Okay, absolutely. Queen of the Moon. Queen of the Moon, what do we have? That was interesting because the masculine showed himself. Those two flew out. And he's on the bottom again. There we go. There's the masculine for you. We have got power and darkness. Yeah. So this here, although this is more like eclipse energy, this is actually about lighting our own path forward and navigating out of these dark nights of the soul. Again, if you are familiar with that, you are going to know about the dark night of the soul. Okay. But we can illuminate our path forward. It's understanding we've got the power to do that. And what I mentioned before about, okay, where do we need to take our power back? That seems very prevalent for this full moon in Capricorn. That could be the illumination of some kind of truth, that reality check of, I've been giving my power away to that situation for too long. I've been giving away my power to that person for too long, or that group of people. It's time to take my power back. Okay, because the power is in your hands. So it's about reclaiming that power as part of the sovereign path. Okay, we'll have to just look at this masculine because obviously he's wanting to show himself, but that's that masculine drive that can propel us forward, to persist with the shadow work, to commit to the self, and ultimately to open up that authentic expression. Okay, and then the Moonology OG deck. Do we have, please? Thank you. Interesting. That's interesting. I'm going to take another one. Because you're going to be like, what? We need to know what it is. There we go. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. Interestingly, now I've got 5. So, you know, you ask for more, you get more, don't you? They're all kind of similar shades, aren't they? Which is lovely. And that makes me think of the third eye chakra. So very much about tuning into the third eye. A new start is coming. Work through your fears. This is a big one. Your commitment is being tested. We know about that. Saturnian lessons, the Pluto transformation journey, the healing journey generally. It's time to release negativity. Nothing will come of this situation if we don't, okay? Because underneath that, we have faith in your dreams. So that underpins it all, okay? Nothing is going to change if we don't release the negativity, if we don't commit to the self, and that's being tested at the moment. That's what could also be illuminated in the full moon in Capricorn, the uncomfortable emotions, okay? We need to work through our fears because a new start is coming. But in order for a new start to come, something needs to end and close out, cycle close out, okay? And it could be as simple as letting go of a limiting thought, belief, pattern, okay? Could be like that. It could be something more. It could be detaching from a situation, you know, that's been going on for so long. So it really, really depends if it's resonating for you at all, okay? But that's what we have. And then I was just drawn to that deck again, and we've got Mercury on the top, sitting on the top there. That is about expression. So yes, when you think of taking your power back, anything that's been challenging or limiting your expression could also be something that you need to work through, because that might be where your commitment is being tested. Okay, am I being tested to sort of limit myself in speaking up? How do I take my power back? Because I want to be empowered to speak up for myself. Okay, as an example. Okay, but there we go. Take a reality check, just to remind you of that card. This is what the illumination of this full moon in Capricorn could bring, and certainly the period between this full moon and the one on the 21st of July, okay, because we've got 1 degree of Capricorn, then we've got 29 degrees of Capricorn. So this is about, yeah, this period in between, and what that's going to illuminate for you, that's going to show you what you need to release and what you need to detach from when it comes to that Capricornian energy. And in the middle with the new moon in Cancer, that's about manifestation of that which is important to the heart chakra, where emotions very much are guiding you. So we need to be mindful of that. We've got the two different things at play there. Okay. Sending you love and blessings as always. Wish you all the best for Cancer season, and of course for this upcoming full moon in Capricorn. And I'll be back with further reports. So sending you love and blessings. Take care. Bye for now.